Hello, welcome back to class. This lesson is part 2 of a series where we are looking at solving linear equations. In this particular one, we're looking at word type questions, problem type questions. In this lesson, we will use the problem solving process, we will translate worded statements to mathematical sentences, and we will solve simple problems that lead to linear equations. First up, there's someone I'd like you to meet. George Polya. George Polya was a teacher and mathematician, lived a long time ago. And he wrote this book about how to solve it, where he, through rigorous practice and training and experimenting, came up with these things that we call problem solving steps. Those steps have helped to make our lives as mathematicians a lot easier. What those steps involve are four things. One, we need to understand the problem. So whenever you're given a question that is written in worded form, we need to read it at least one time, maybe two times, three times, as many times as you need to make sure that you understand the problem. Once you think you understand the problem, then you need to make a plan about how you want to solve it. Then, of course, you need to carry out that plan. And when you carry out that plan and get your results, you need to check those results to make sure the results work according to what you understood the problem to be asking for. If they work, very well. If they don't, then you need to go back to the drawing board to say, okay, what did I miss? What did I not understand? So some persons call this a problem solving cycle. And if it worked, you can say, what could I do to change things to make things different? So they're quite nice. George Polya did a lot in problem solving to make our lives today as problem solving better. And we thank him for that and his work. There's also this guy, Rene Descartes. Rene Descartes did a lot of work on problem solving too. And this particular quote attributed to him says, each problem that I solved became a rule which served afterwards to solve other problems. And this is quite true. Every type of problem that you solve will become a kind of template that helps you to solve other problems. So first, we're going to look at some Cxe type questions, and what we're going to do is to try to create the mathematical sentences from these questions and guide you into how you should write them down. So let's start off with this one. A drinking straw of length 21 centimeters is cut into three pieces. The length of the first piece is x, the length of the second piece is 3 centimeters shorter than the first one. The third piece is twice as long as the first piece. So we are supposed to state in terms of x the length of each piece. All right. So the first piece. The first piece is given as x. The second piece, we're told, is 3 centimeters shorter than the first, which means we're going to take 3 out of this. So the second piece is x minus 3. And the third piece is twice as long as the first piece. This is the first piece. The third one is twice as long as the first, which means we're going to be multiplying this by 3. 2, twice as long. All right, so we have answered part 1. The second part of the question says, write an expression in x to represent the sum of the lengths of the 3 pieces of straw. Sum, as you know, means to add. So we're going to write a sum to represent the 3 pieces. The first piece would be x. The second piece would be x minus 3. And the third piece would be twice as long, which is 2x. You could leave it like this, or you could simplify it. And if you simplify it, then it becomes x plus 2x, and that gives you 4x and a minus 3. So this is the first part of our question, and this is the second part of our question. Hence, calculate the value of x. We are told that the length of this straw is 21 centimeters. So This is the sum, and that 4x minus 3 is equal to 21, which gives us a nice simple equation to solve. We can solve that by doing the opposite of this minus 3 here, and say 4x is equal to 21 plus 3, which gives us 4x is equal to 24. Having done that, then we can say x therefore is equal to 24 divided by 4, which is 6. So the value of x is 6 centimeters, which means that the length of the first piece of string is 6. We weren't asked to check them, but just writing them down. The first one is 6. The second one is 6 minus 3, which is 3. And the third one is twice as long as the first, which is 2 times 6, which is 12. And when you add these three pieces of string, 12 plus 3, that's 15, and 15 plus 6, that's 21. You see that you get the length of string that is here. Now let's look at this part of the question in the second part. Adam, Imran, and Shakil were playing a card game. Adam scored X points. Imran scored 3 points fewer than Adam. Shakil scored twice as many as Imran. Together they scored 39 points. So write down in terms of X an expression for the number of points scored by Shakil. We are told that Shakil scored twice as many as Imran. But how many did Imran score? So Adam has X. Imran had 3 points fewer, which means Imran had X minus 3, whatever the number of points is. Shakil scored twice as many as Imran. So Shakil had twice as many as Imran, which means 2 times X minus 3. So the number of points scored by Imran, by Shakil, would be 2 times X minus 3. Write an equation which may be used to find the value of X. So here we're not actually being asked to solve it. We're simply being asked to write down the equation. Now we know that the three boys scored together 39 points. So Adam's points plus Imran's points plus Shakil's points gives us X plus X minus 3 plus 2X minus 3 gives us 39. Again, you could leave it there or you could simplify it. If you want to simplify it, then X plus X minus 3, then 2X minus 6 equal 39 should give you the equation X plus 2X, that's 4X, and minus 3 and minus 6 give you a minus 9, and that should give you the total number of points, 39. So this would be the equation that you will be asked to write. The question did not say that you need to simplify. It simply said you needed to write it. So that is it written. And if you wanted to impress the examiner, not sure you would get more marks, but this is also it. Let's look at some more. The table below shows types of cakes available at a bakery, the cost of each cake, and the number of cakes sold for a given day. So we have sponge cake, the cost is K plus $5, chocolate cake is K dollars, and fruit cake is 2K dollars, and the number of cakes are sold. Write an expression in terms of K for the amount of money collected from the sponge cake. Well, sponge cake is K plus 5. And they sold 2 sponge cakes. So the amount of money collected from the sale of sponge cakes for that day would be 2 times K plus $5. Write an expression in terms of K for the total money collected. Now the total money collected will be the money for the sponge cakes, the money for the chocolate cake, and the money for the fruit cake, which means that we're going to have 2 times K plus 5 plus the money for the chocolate cake, 10K, and the money for the fruit cake, which is 4 times 2k. Again, you could leave it like that, or you may want to simplify. So let's simplify. 2k plus 10 plus 10k plus 8k, and that gives us 8 plus 2, 10 plus 10, 20. That's 8k plus 2k, that's 10k, plus another 10k, that's 20k. So we have 20k plus 10. Now, the third part of the question says the baker collected $140 that day. So what is the value of k? So now we need to solve the simple equation. 20k plus 10 equal 140. Here, we're going to do the opposite of the plus 10. So 20k is equal to 140 minus 10, which means 20k is equal to 130, which means now that k is equal to 130 divided by 20, which is 6.5. Or because we're talking about money, $6.50. What about this one? 500 tickets were sold for a concert. Of the tickets, there were $6 tickets, and the remainder were sold for $10. X were sold for $6. The remainder were sold at $10 each. Write expressions for this. The number of tickets sold for $10. Now there are 500 tickets. X were sold for 6, and the remainder was sold for $10. The number of tickets sold for $10 would be 500 minus whatever X was. So we take out the number of tickets that were sold for $6, and then the remainder of those tickets would be sold for $10. That's this. The total amount of money collected for the sale of the 500 tickets. No, the money collected for the sale of the $6 tickets would be $6 times the number of tickets sold, plus $10 times the number of tickets sold for $10. So this becomes our expression for part B. The total sum of money was 4,108. We are asked to calculate for the 500 tickets. And we're being asked to calculate the number of tickets sold for $6, which means that we're being asked to solve the equation for X. So what we know here is that when we add this money, 6x plus 10 times 500 minus x, we're going to be ending up with $4,108. Multiplying out the bracket, we have 6x plus 5,000 minus 10x is equal to 4,108. We need to group these things. So let's have the 6x and the minus 10x beside each other, and do the opposite of this plus 5,000 by subtracting it from the other side. Now, 4,108 minus 5,000 gives us 892. So we're going to have here negative 4x is equal to 892, negative 892. And to get the value of x, which is the number of $6 tickets, we need to say x is equal to negative 492 divided by negative 4. Once you do that calculation, you will see that the number of tickets is 223. So 223 tickets were sold for $6, and the remainder were sold for $10 each. All right, let's look at another one. Sometimes worded questions are given and they're not as outlined as these are outlined. In this question, a farmer shared 496 tomatoes among 3 workers. We are told Paula, Greta, and Gertrude. Greta received 16 more than Paula. Gertrude received 3 times as many as Paula. Calculate the number of tomatoes that Paula received. So here we're seeing that Paula is being used as the reference. Everybody's tomatoes is being compared to Paula's number of tomatoes. So let's make up a list here. Paula, Greta, and Gertrude. What we know is that whatever number of tomatoes Paula got, let's call that X, then Greta got 16 more. So Greta is going to get X plus 16. Now Gertrude received 3 times as many as Paula. So whatever number here Paula got, Gertrude is going to get 3 times that amount. Now, we know that the farmer shared 496 tomatoes, which means that x plus 16 plus 3x should give us 496 tomatoes. This means that 3x plus x, that's 5x, plus 16 is equal to 496. This means now 5x is equal to 496 minus 16, which means 5x is equal to 480. To get our answer, we are going to divide both sides by 5. So x is equal to 480 divided by 5, which gives us 96. So Paula would have gotten 96 tomatoes. Greta would have gotten 96 plus 16, and Gertrude would have received 3 times 96. And when you check that and add them together, you will realize that it's equal to the 496. Now, what about this question with Ben and Alice and tapes? Now, Alice has T tapes. Ben has 10 tapes more than Alice. So, Alice is being used as a reference. So, let's write them down. Alice and Ben. What we know, whatever number of tapes Alice has, T, Ben has 10 more. So Ben would have T plus 10. What else do we know? Alice gives Ben 14 tapes. So part 1, express in terms of T the number of tapes that Ben has. Ben has T plus 10. Write an algebraic equation to represent this new information. So Alice gives 14 tapes to Ben. So Alice is going to lose 14 tapes, and Ben is going to gain those 14 tapes. Which means now that Ben has T plus 24. What we are told at this situation, at this present moment, when Alice gives away that number of tapes, is that Ben is now going to have twice as many tapes as she does. So if we take the number of tapes that Alice has, which is T minus 14, and multiply it by 2, we should get the number of tapes that Ben has. It says, after she gives him 14, he has this number, T plus 24, and it's actually twice her number. So if we multiply her number by 2, we should get this. Now 2T minus 28 is equal to T plus 24. We need to do some regrouping. So 2t take away t is equal to 24 plus 28. So t is equal to 52, which means that Alice has 52 tapes. Now let's check it according to the process. If Alice has 52 tapes, just checking to see if our answer is correct. If Alice has 52 tapes, then Ben will have 52 plus 10, which gives us 62. Now, if Alice gives away 14, then she's going to lose 14 tapes. So 52, take away 14. 4 from 12 is 8, and 1 from 4 leaves 3. So she would now have 38 tapes. And since she's going to give these 14 tapes to Ben, he's now going to have 62 plus 14, which gives us 4 plus 2, 6, 6 and 1, 7, which means that Ben now has 76 tapes. Now we are told that at this moment, Ben now has twice as many. And you can see that 38 times 2 is 76. So Ben does have indeed twice as many tapes as her in this instance. So we are absolutely sure that our answer here is correct because Alice has 52, and if you check it in the question, it works out perfectly. And then there are some other type questions like these. The length of a rectangle is 7x plus 5, and its width is 3x. If P stands for the perimeter of the rectangle, what expression in terms of x can be used for P? Well, how do we find perimeter? Perimeter is 2 times length plus 2 times width in a rectangle. And the length is 2 times 7x plus 5 plus 2 times the width, and that would give us the perimeter. Now, the question didn't ask us to simplify it, but we can simplify it. So 2 times 7x is 14x plus 10 plus 6x, which gives us 14 plus 6 is 20x. So we have 20x plus 10 gives us the perimeter. Now for part 2. If A stands for the area of the rectangle, what expression in terms of x can be used for the area? Now, area of a rectangle is written down as the length times the width. So we can simply write down 3x multiplied by 7x plus 5. And this expression would be equal to the area. For part 3, it is known that the perimeter P is 90 meters. Using this information, calculate A in square meters. That is, we want to find the area of the rectangle. If we're going to find the area of the rectangle, first we need to find what the value of x is. So let's use this expression that we just found for perimeter. 20x plus 10, we are told, is equal to 90. Now 20x is therefore equal to 90. Take away 10. And 20x is therefore equal to 80, which means that x is equal to 80 over 20, which is equal to 4. So knowing that the value of x is 4, we can now try to work out from here the value of the area. The area then is going to be equal to 3x times 7x plus 5, which means 3 times 4 times 7 times 4 plus 5. 3 times 4 is 12, 7 times 4 is 28, plus 5, which means we have 12 times 28 plus 5 33, and now we multiply our numbers 12 times 33, and we get our answer. That would tell us that the area of the rectangle is equal to 396 meters square. And then there are those age questions. Now let's suppose that Johnny is X years old and Mary is 5x minus 12. So we need to write down their ages as they appear. Johnny, or John, and his sister Mary. John is X and Mary is 5x minus 12. Given that Mary is twice as old as John, Mary is twice as old as John. So if we take John's age and multiply it by 2, we should get Mary's age. So it says Mary is twice as old, which means that Mary's age, 5x minus 12, is equal to twice John's age, which is 2x. And what we have here is a simple equation that we can solve. So let's rearrange the equation to have the x's on both sides. Now we have 5x, take away 2x, is equal to 12, which means 3x is equal to 12, which means that x is equal to 4. Now if x is 4, which means that John is 4, then what is Mary's age? Mary is twice his age, which means that Mary is 2 times 4, which is 8. But if you want to use the expression that was given for her age, then 5 times x minus 12 would mean 5 times 4 minus 12, which is 20 minus 12, which is 8. And this final one. A mother is 3 times as old as her daughter. In 12 years' time, she will be twice as old as her daughter. How old is the mother now? So we have mom and we have the daughter. We know that a mother is 3 times as old as her daughter. So let her daughter's age be x. Then mom's age will have to be 3x because she's 3 times as old. But in 12 years' time, what's going to happen is the mother is going to age 12 years and the daughter is going to age 12 years. What the question says at this particular point in time, 12 years into the future, the mother will be twice as old, which means that if you take the mother's age, it will be equal to 2 times the daughter's age. So take daughter's age, multiply it by 2, and whatever number you get, it should be equal to mommy's age. So 2 times x plus 12 would give you mom's age. So let's do this. 3x plus 12 is equal to 2x plus 24. Rearranging this equation gives us 3x minus 2x is equal to 24 minus 12, which tells us that x is 12, which means that her daughter is 12. We're interested in mom's age. Now, if the daughter is 12, it means that the mother is 3 times 12, which is 36. In the future, though, 12 years' time, mother is going to be 36 plus 12, which is 48. And the daughter is going to be 12 plus 12, which is 24. So in 12 years' time, the mother is going to be 48 and the daughter is going to be 24. And as you notice, 24 times 2 gives you 48, which is mom's age in 12 years' time. These are interesting questions. And there are many, many more questions that you can find and practice with. Let's go back to Polya. There are many, many times when you will read a question and it will not make sense. Read it again and again and again. Read it until you think you understand it. And once you understand that problem, make a plan to solve that problem. Then you carry out that problem. And then you revise and extend and reflect on what you found. In our last question here, the mother is 3 times as old as her daughter. In 12 years' time, she will be twice as old. So we set up a plan to find what the answer is. Work it out. We found out that the daughter was 12. Having found it to be 12, we need to check it now against the question to make sure that it makes sense. So if the daughter is 12, then the mother is going to be 3 times 12, which is 36, and this makes sense. And in 12 years' time, 36 plus 12 will be 48, and 12 plus 12 for the daughter will be 24. So she will be half her mother's age, or her mother will be 2 times her age. You will find these questions are mostly on paper 2 of your CXE paper. Sometimes they may be hard, sometimes they can be frustrating. But the essence of problem solving is to train your mind to see solutions and to come up with creative ways to solve them. The question may not always tell you how to solve them. It is left up to you to come up with a creative plan to do the solution. Once you do the solution, always remember to check your answer to make sure that it makes sense.